Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today, we are headed down south to Florida, but not to Miami or the Keys or anything like that. We are going to a place you might not have heard of called Southwest Ranches.
Definitely a bit off the beaten path.
Yeah, I hadn't really heard of it before doing research for this episode. So tell me what is so special about Southwest Ranches.
Well, it's a really interesting community that offers a really unique lifestyle. It's a place where you can kind of have it all. You've got the peace and quiet of a rural setting, but you're still close to all the action of South Florida.
Yeah, that sounds pretty ideal, actually. Kind of the best of both worlds. So give me the rundown. What are we talking about here?
One of the biggest draws is the space. I mean, the lots here are huge.
Like, how huge are we talking?
We're talking acres, not just a little backyard. I mean,
Yeah.
you can have a pool, a garden, a stable for horses, you name it.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. You don't see that too often these days. So
Yeah.
what kind of homes are we talking about on these massive lots?
You're definitely in the luxury category here. But it's not just about big, flashy houses. The homes in Southwest Ranches are designed with a modern elegance. Think open floor plans, high-end finishes, and a real focus on energy efficiency.
So not your typical McMansions.
Not at all. There's a real commitment to quality and design here.
Now, you mentioned horses earlier. I'm sensing an equestrian theme here.
You're picking up on it. Southwest Ranches is known for its equestrian lifestyle. There are miles of riding trails throughout the community.
Wait, so you can actually ride your horse around the neighborhood?
Absolutely. It's not uncommon to see people riding their horses along the roads, and many of the properties have stables and paddocks.
That's so cool. I'm picturing like a modern-day Wild West.
Well, it's not quite the Wild West, but there's definitely a strong equestrian culture here.
So it sounds like Southwest Ranches is a horse lover's paradise. But what about those of us who aren't into horses? Is there anything else that might appeal to a wider range of people?
Of course. While horses are a big part of the community, it's not just about that. Southwest Ranches is all about embracing a peaceful and outdoorsy lifestyle.
Like, what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, you've got beautifully landscaped parks, walking trails, and just a general sense of tranquility that's hard to find in other parts of South Florida.
So it's kind of like a little oasis tucked away from the hustle and bustle.
Exactly. But the best part is you're not completely isolated. You're still close enough to all the conveniences and amenities that South Florida has to offer.
That sounds like a pretty ideal balance. So let's say someone is listening to this and they're intrigued by Southwest Ranches. Who would you recommend they reach out to if they want to learn more?
Well, when it comes to navigating the luxury real estate market in Southwest Ranches, there's one name that stands out. Antonio Ortega, LLC.
I've heard that name before. What makes them the go-to realtor in this area?
It's their deep understanding of the Southwest Ranches market. They really know this area inside and out.
That's got to be important when you're talking about such a unique community.
Absolutely, and they're also committed to providing personalized guidance to their clients. They're not just about closing deals. They want to make sure you find the perfect property for your lifestyle.
It's good to know. Now, I understand that Antonio Ortega LLC is offering a special incentive for our listeners.
That's right. They are offering 10% of their professional fee towards your closing costs.
Whoa, that's huge.
It is. It can make a real difference when you're talking about buying a home in this price range.
So not only do you get expert guidance, but you also get some financial assistance. That's a win-win situation.
Exactly. It shows how committed they are to helping their clients achieve their dream of owning a home in Southwest Ranches.
It sounds like Antonio Ortega LLC is the perfect partner for anyone looking to explore this amazing community.
I would definitely agree. If you're even remotely curious about Southwest Ranches, I highly recommend you visit their website, AntonioOrtegaLLC.com.
That's AntonioOrtegaLLC.com. There you can find more information about the community, browse available properties, and learn more about that fantastic closing cost incentive.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Now let's talk a little bit more about what makes Southwest Ranches such a great place for families.
Sounds good to me.
But first, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive deeper into the family-friendly aspects of Southwest Ranches and why it might be the perfect place to raise kids. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Before the break, we were talking about Antonio Ortega LLC and that incredible closing cost incentive. But let's get back to Southwest Ranches itself. You mentioned that it's a great place for families. What makes it so special for kids?
Well, one of the things that really stands out is the space. I mean, imagine growing up with acres of land to roam and explore. Kids in Southwest ranches can build forts in their backyards, ride bikes on the trails, and just enjoy being kids. They're not cooped up in a tiny house or apartment.
That sounds amazing. But what about schools? Are there good educational options in the area?
Absolutely. Southwest Ranches is actually served by some of the top-rated schools in Broward County. You've got American Heritage School, which is a highly ranked private school. And for those looking for public school options, there's Cypress Bay High School, which is known for its strong STEM programs.
So parents can feel good knowing that their kids are getting a quality education.
Exactly. And it's not just about academics. The community itself has a very family-friendly atmosphere. There are parks, rec facilities, and a really safe and welcoming vibe.
So it's about more than just the houses. It's about the lifestyle.
Exactly. It's about raising your kids in an environment that prioritizes outdoor play, community involvement, and a sense of belonging.
That sounds pretty ideal. But let's be real. Not everyone is focused on raising kids. Does Southwest Ranches have anything to offer young professionals or empty nesters?
Oh, absolutely. Remember, this is a community that values a balanced lifestyle. It's a great place to raise a family, but it's also ideal for anyone who appreciates peace and quiet, spacious living and a touch of luxury.
And you mentioned earlier that the homes are designed with a modern elegance. Does that appeal to a younger demographic?
Definitely. The open floor plans, the sleek designs, the smart home technology, it all resonates with people who appreciate a contemporary aesthetic.
So you're saying it's not just a place to retire, it's a place to thrive regardless of your stage in life.
Precisely. And, there's another aspect that makes Southwest Ranches appealing to a diverse range of people. It's the potential for future growth.
Now that's interesting. What kind of growth are we talking about? Is this a community that's on the verge of a boon?
Well, Southwest Ranches has kind of flown under the radar compared to some of its more well-known neighbors, but it's starting to attract more and more attention. The combination of spacious living luxury homes and a prime location just west of Fort Lauderdale is really appealing to people.
So you're saying that it's not just a great place to live, it's also a smart investment.
Exactly. As demand for homes in Southwest Ranches increases, property values are likely to go up. That's good news for homeowners.
It all sounds very promising. But, I've been to some planned communities that felt a little sterile, like they lacked character. What's the vibe like in Southwest Ranches? Is there a genuine sense of community?
That's a great question. And I think what sets Southwest Ranches apart is its commitment to preserving its rural charm and its equestrian heritage. This isn't just a cookie-cutter development, it's a place with a unique identity and a strong sense of history.
So it's a real community, not just a bunch of houses.
Exactly. It's a feeling, an energy that you can't really manufacture. And that's why people who move to Southwest Ranches tend to stay. They fall in love with the lifestyle, the community, and the blend of tranquility and convenience.
Well, you've definitely painted a vivid picture of Southwest Ranches. But we've thrown a lot of information at our listeners today. What would you say are the key takeaways?
Yeah, it's a lot to process. I think the main thing to remember is that Southwest Ranches offers a truly unique lifestyle. You can have spacious living, a modern home, and a connection to nature, all while still being close to everything South Florida has to offer. It's a place where you can raise a family, build a career, and just enjoy a really balanced life.
And if any of that sounds appealing to you, you should definitely reach out to Antonio Ortega, LLC. They're the experts in this market, and they can help you make your dream of living in Southwest Ranches a reality.
Absolutely.
And don't forget about that fantastic incentive they're offering. 10% of their fee towards closing costs.
Can't beat that.
To learn more, head over to AntonioOrtegaLLC.com.
You won't regret it.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about Southwest Ranches. What a fascinating deep dive this has been.
It really has.
I hope our listeners have enjoyed it as much as we have.
You too.
And remember, if Southwest Ranches sounds like the perfect place for you, Antonio Ortega LLC is there to help make your dream a reality.
Don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, that concludes our deep dive into the world of Southwest Ranches. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and maybe even discovered your next dream destination.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
We spent this episode really painting a picture of Southwest Ranches, this community that sounds like a real hidden gem. But sometimes these idyllic-sounding places have downsides that you don't see right away. So are there any potential challenges or drawbacks to living in Southwest Ranches?
That's a great point. You always want to look at both sides of the coin, right? One thing to consider is the reliance on cars. Southwest Ranches is a sprawling community with large lots, so you'll likely need a car to get around, whether it's for errands, school drop-offs, or social activities.
So it's not exactly a walkable community.
Not in the traditional sense, no, but the community does have those miles of trails that we talked about, so you can get out and walk, jog, or ride horses. But for everyday things, you'll probably need a car.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
What about the cost of living? We've talked about the luxury homes and spacious lots, but is Southwest Ranches actually affordable for everyone?
That's a really important thing to consider. Southwest Ranches is definitely on the higher end of the spectrum. Property taxes, for example, can be a bit higher than in some of the surrounding areas because of the larger lot sizes and higher property values.
So that's something to keep in mind when you're looking at your budget.
Exactly. Do your research and make sure it makes sense for you financially.
Now, we've talked a lot about families and how Southwest Ranches is great for kids, but are there any potential downsides for families specifically?
Well, one thing to think about is the distance between homes. With the larger lots, you might not have neighbors right next door, which could be a challenge for young kids who want to just run over to their friend's house.
That's true, but didn't you say there's a strong sense of community in Southwest Ranches?
Right, and that's where that really comes in. There are lots of organized activities and events for families, so you can still create those opportunities for your kids to socialize and make friends.
So it might just require a bit more effort from parents.
Exactly. But the support is there.
Sounds like you really need to weigh the pros and cons carefully and decide if Southwest Ranches aligns with your priorities and your lifestyle.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. It's about finding the right fit for you.
Well, if Southwest Ranches does sound like the right fit, who would you recommend they contact to explore things further?
Definitely reach out to Antonio Ortega LLC. They're the experts on this market. And they can guide you through all the ins and outs. They can help you find the perfect property and figure out the financial stuff.
And of course, we can't forget about that incredible incentive they're offering to our listeners.
Yeah.
10% of their fee towards your closing costs.
Such a great deal.
So to learn more, head over to their website, AntonioOrtega'LLC.com.
They've got all the information you need.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about Southwest Ranches. The good, the bad, and the beautiful.
It's been a fun one.
It really has. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too.
Thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
Of course. It's been my pleasure.
And that concludes our exploration of Southwest Ranches. We hope you've enjoyed the journey with us.
Absolutely.
If you're thinking about making a move to Southwest Ranches, remember, Antonio Ortega LLC is there to help. They can make your dream a reality.
Until next time, happy house hunting.
And keep diving deep.